Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Sacred Self-Worth interview series. I'm Ilan Navarro, and I'm here today with Terry Wildemann, who is an amazing business coach, author, speaker, and we're going to be talking about intuition, how to be our most resilient selves, how to connect to ourselves, how to create positive shifts in our life, and how that all plays into how you view yourself, who you are, how you show up in the world. So Terry, can you give us in your own words a little intro of who you are and what you do?
Oh, thank you so much for that opportunity. Well, what I do is there's a lot of things that I do, but in a nutshell is I work with entrepreneurial leaders who know that something is missing and they're really not quite sure what it is. And I help them unlock what those missing things are. We help together, we discover them, and we also discover the solutions that fill in the gaps that are creating those missing links.
Awesome.
And we do that with communications, with team building, with resilience, with law of attraction. We do all kinds of fun things with it once we identify what the gap is.
Awesome. And do you find that self-worth is a piece of that gap?
Always. Self-worth is always a big part of it. Uh, Even folks who have a high sense of self-worth, sometimes I find that it's a high sense of self-worth in one area because we have the 5 pillars of life, which are wealth, health, relationships, spirituality, and career. And sometimes the self-worth is lacking in another area that may not be business or it may be health. It can be in one of those. So to find somebody who is equal in all areas of self-worth is actually a really cool thing when it does happen, but it doesn't happen all the time. It doesn't happen often. Because
Yeah.
we're human. We're
Yeah.
human, you
Yeah.
know?
Absolutely. And this is kind of a new concept, especially in this conversation too, of looking at different areas of self-worth, because originally I was just thinking of self-worth as a whole, but you're absolutely right. There are so many different areas of our life where we could be lacking or more. And so that's pretty hopeful too, that, you can raise up different areas and balance out.
Yes, and that really is true because you may be a great mom, for example. You take some time off from work and you're a great mom taking care of your kids, and it's time then to go back into the workplace. There could be some real self-worth issues there that we can address to help that individual step into the new job in a much more powerful way.
Mm.
Or it could be a person who's been in the workforce for a long time and they're just unhappy. They don't feel worthy for whatever reason. They're just tired, or it's time for a change, and they just don't know what to do. Or it could be an entrepreneur who's not successful in attracting the right kinds of business. And a lot of it is, it could be a hidden lack of self-worth that they don't even realize, and they're attracting the wrong kind of clients.
Yeah.
So self-worth really has its fingers in a lot of different areas in our life, and a lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah. What is your definition of self-worth? How do you conceptualize it?
The moment you said that, the word self-love came to me, because when we love ourselves, it opens the door to so much prosperity. And a lot of my clients say, well, I don't know how to love myself. I don't love myself. And is that really a real thing? I've actually had people say to me, is that really a real thing? And in fact, it is, because I like to use the example of the flight attendant on the airplane. You have to give yourself oxygen first before you can help everybody else. You really need to love yourself first before you can help others. And learning how to love yourself can be challenging. So it's about baby steps. How about learning to like yourself first? How about learning how to appreciate yourself first? Because a lot of people, because of the way they were raised, have challenges with self-love. It is a big deal. And I'm not talking about the diva-ish self-love. Oh, I'm so wonderful. That's not where I'm going. I'm talking about really heart-centered loving of yourself warts and all, all the nooks and crannies, all the good stuff along with the bad stuff. And it's like, this is who I am.
Yeah.
It can be challenging to go there. It
Yeah.
really can.
The word embrace came up as you were talking, embracing who you are.
It is. It really is about embracing who you are. That's a brilliant word. I love that word, because when you embrace it, you are hugging it. You are owning it, and it's like, yeah, this is who I am, and it's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah. Do you see with your clients or even in your own work that the more you step into a worthy place, things in your life shift?
Oh, that is such a big deal, because it does. It really does shift, and it shifts in unexpected ways. It shifts when, and this is where intuition comes in too. You know, intuition, communication, all the things that you and I talked about actually before the show. Um, when you embrace yourself and love yourself, you put yourself in a position of being able to look at your talents, your gifts, what it is that you are meant to be here to do in the world. And all of us have a mission. I don't care who you are. Every single one of us has a mission on this planet. To make a difference. It could be making a difference in a child's life. It could be making a difference with your significant other. It could be making a difference with your parents. All of us have a mission. And when we fulfill that mission, it opens the door to more and more and more and more and more. And it often comes from the most unexpected places. And it's so much fun to watch when that happens.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Absolutely. Um, how do you know that you're not in a worthy place? What are some signs that, okay, I need to work on self-worth?
I can only really talk about me personally, okay? Because that's what led me to do the kind of work that I do.
Yeah.
And with me, it was how I felt. And with my clients, it's how they feel. How you feel tells you so much about where you are. And are you on the low end of the vibration scale, or are you on the high end of the vibration scale? In my book, The Enchanted Boardroom, um, there you go, right there. I have a thing, I don't know if you can see it, there's a cover right there. There's a thing that I call a model that I call the transition hub. And it looks like a storefront. And you're walking in, and there's a side-by-side door. And on either side of the door is a shopping window. And on the left side are negative emotions. And on the right side are positive emotions. So as you see yourself in front of the doors and to go into the store to choose what emotions you want, you can take a good look at both panels and see, where do I feel right now? And if you're feeling less than, if you're in the spot with all the negative emotions, which can be anger, resistance, lack of self-worth, worry, all these things that if you're living on that left side, there are tools and techniques that we can use to get you towards the right side of that storefront, which has all of the positive emotions on it. And lack of self-worth tends to have emotions such as possibly depression, or you can get very tired sometimes. You just have had enough, overwhelmed. And when you learn how to use these tools to shift and get into your heart, because the heart organ has so much to play with self-worth. The heart organ, and we can talk about that later, but once you shift into that heart organ and begin to breathe deeply and think of things that are positive, and you shift towards the right side, everything begins to change. Your physical appearance changes. Your physique can begin to change once you keep practicing this. How you interact with people changes, because how you think about yourself has changed.
Yeah, I love that. That was my hypothesis also, in beginning this journey, is that once you accept, embrace, love, value yourself, your health changes, your relationships
Yeah,
change, your business changes, your finances change because you are just not the same person.
you're not, you're different.
Can you speak a little bit about the role of intuition and how we can connect to ourselves to play around with self-worth, how we can make those shifts over to
Um,
the right side?
Well, our intuition is very powerful, and all of us have the gift of intuition, all of us. However, based on how we are raised, sometimes that gift can be squashed because you may say to your parents or to somebody else, "Oh, I see this," and they turn around and go, "That's not there," and you begin, and all of a sudden it's like, "Oh, am I going crazy?" When in fact you're not.
Mm.
A lot of kids who play with their um, imaginary friends, they're actually their guides, they're angels. And those imaginary friends are very real. And I have found that many of my clients have actually have squashed the reminders of their imaginary friends. And as adults, they connect with them and realize that they were angels from the very beginning. So there's a time and a place for that to be happening. People who see images tend to be very visual. And there's a direct connection between how you learn and your intuitive gifts. So people who are visual, they tend to see the images. They're clairvoyant.
Hmm.
Okay? People who are clairaudient, they learn better by hearing things. They That's what they are. They're clairaudient. So this is the strongest intuitive unit that they work with. I know for me, when I first started really developing my skills, I kept getting messages through my left ear. And a lot of people will tell you that that's how they start. The clairaudient ones, it's in the left ear. I really don't know why the left ear, but it happens to be the left ear.
Huh.
And then you have people who are sensors. They can feel things, and they're clairsentient. And people who just know things, and they're claircognizant. So those four intuitive gifts, everybody has them to some level.
Huh.
Once you identify with them, then you can begin to expand on them. Except my very first one was the gift of claircognizance, just knowing, and then the gift of clairaudience. And as I've developed all my gifts, they're pretty much all even now. Even though it's taken a while to get there, but it's even. And it's just amazing when you go into a room and your gifts go on and turn on, and you get a lot of information. Sometimes you have to say, okay, take a deep breath. I need this to just settle in because it can be a little overwhelming.
Yeah. As you were talking, I was thinking about how, I think I'm a feeler. I feel things definitely. And it can be overwhelming to like just be overwhelmed with sensation, emotion, feel like physical feeling, pain, whatever. And so it really is a skill to be able to learn how to use these things to a benefit, because a lot of people I know think something's wrong with them, or they're going crazy, or um, you know it's a difficult concept to wrap your head around because it does seem kind of out there.
It is.
So
And my role is to work with leaders and help them integrate the practical and logical with the emotional, the energetic, the intuitive, and the spiritual.
yeah.
So when you integrate it all, you become a very solidly grounded leader.
And
Who's going,
I'd love to hear more about that specifically, because I imagine CEOs, entrepreneurs, business people to kind of be a certain type of person that intuition, sensitivity, feeling doesn't come into that image for me. So how do you integrate that?
well, I am a businesswoman who became a holistic practitioner. Okay. I started out in business. I've been in business since I was 18 years old. And this left brain side of me always had a very deep intuitive side, always. And a lot of us were really scared to come out of the closet with it because everybody thought it was woo woo. But when you look back in history, when you look back at the military leaders, when you look back at Einstein, for example, you know, all of them tap into intuition and have used intuition to create their successes. So intuition is actually a huge part of business. And a lot of people are successful because they indeed follow their intuition when everybody else said that they were nutso. I mean, you take a good look at Apple. You know, when they were developing a lot of these tools, people were like, we don't need that. What do we need that for? And they went ahead and did what they needed to do, and look at where they are today. The same thing with Tesla. Look at what's happening with Tesla. You know, so intuition is critical in business. And when we don't listen to it, it's when we make the biggest mistakes.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Absolutely. I definitely agree. What are some tools? I know you've kind of referenced tools, tips, ways to start practicing this in our lives.
Well, one of the things that I love is, and it took me a while to embrace it, but once you get the hang of it, it's pretty cool, because when you reread what you write, you're like, whoa, okay. And to me, it's called automatic writing.
Mm-hmm.
And what I do is I write in a journal, and I'll say me, and I will ask my question. And then I have what I call my trusted advisors. And whoever my trusted advisors are, I don't care, whatever, I just go trusted advisors. Give me the answer, colon. And I just start to write. I get out of my head. I just start to write. And whatever the answer is, that comes. And then me again. And then trusted advisors. TA is what it is. TA are the initials, colon. And I just write whatever it is that comes out. And then when I'm done, and I usually do that for about 10 or 15 minutes, and I reread what the answers are to my questions, I have had some mind-blowing experiences doing that, because I'm in my heart. I'm just free. I'm just free writing. And there's so many of my friends who do this, so many of my colleagues, my clients who do this, that have had the same experience. And it's because they've gotten out of their practical and logical brains and have allowed that intuitive spiritual side of them to give them the guidance that they need. And once you get that spiritual and energetic piece, then you can connect it back with the practical and logical, and integrate it and present it in a way that is very coherent.
Yeah.
So that's just one tool.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And I often have devil's advocate pop in my head, and I can just see people listening being like, okay, well, trusted advisor, colon, I don't know what to say here. Like, how do you break through? And I'm sure that has to do with belief, trust, you know, that's your resistance that's coming up and saying, well, I don't know. But can you say a little bit about that?
Well, when the resistance comes up, and it's natural that resistance comes up, it's just about taking a deep breath. You know, one of the techniques that I teach folks is the quick shift.
Okay.
And the quick shift is on the back of this card. I don't know if you can see it right here, but there are 4 steps here. You have, and you can download this same sheet, by the way, at quickshiftzone.com.
Awesome.
Quick Shift, that's SHIFT, zone, ZONE.com.
I'll be sure to add a link to that.
And the thing is, the heart is what really helps you. So when you have that resistance piece, it's about taking a deep breath into your chest. And if you can, put a hand on your chest and have your hand imitate a air pump going in and out. So the air is going into your hand and out of your hand, into your hand and out of your hand. And what you're doing is you're taking you're shifting out of your head into your body, because that's what happens. We live in a world where we're from here up.
Yes.
And it's inner head, inner head, inner head. But from the neck down, look at how much body there is. And let me tell you, there is a huge amount of information in our body that we don't listen to because we're in our heads. We think the brain is the only answer, and it's not. The heart, and before I get into these 4 steps, the heart is so powerful that the energy field of the heart can be felt 6 to 10 feet away from the body in a 360-degree circumference. So when you are connected to your own heart, the impact that you have on the people that are around you is absolutely magnificent.
Hmm.
And that is why teachers who are tuned in and tapped in and very calm and know how to shift into this part of their bodies have very calm classrooms, because they affect the children, and then each of the children are calm, and then they affect each other. So these clusters happen of very calm kids. Whereas you have a teacher who's way in their head, on and on and on and going a mile a minute, whatever, you have a classroom that's chaotic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and to validate that with intuition is that when you are in your heart, you can then really listen on all cylinders using whatever gifts it is that you have. So step number 1 is shifting into your heart. And if you can, put your hand over your heart and breathe in and out. And step number 2 is to just breathe deeply. Take that deep breath, breathing deeply in. Step number 3 is to just imagine something that makes you feel really good. Walk on the beach, rowing a boat, holding a baby, holding a cat, dog, your significant other, whatever it is that makes you feel good. Because what that technique does, and feeling really good and imagining it and being there, holding you completely, is you are increasing your DHEA levels and reducing the cortisol levels, which is the negative hormone that can affect your weight, your health, your blood pressure, on and on. And then the last piece is just to relax and let go and just step into flow and allow what is coming to you, allow the resistance to dissipate. This is the step that you do when you're standing in front of the storefront and you want to shift from the left side to the right side.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is the key that unlocks that door.
Yeah, I love it. And it's very psychological based also. And, I practice somatic work and connecting to the body. That is absolutely how I've always been called to that. And it's so true. There's so many scientific, I know a lot of people like science proof. There's a lot of scientific evidence and validation for visualization, feeling things in your body, imagining. It has an impact, like you said, on your hormones, stress hormones, balancing your central nervous system, putting you into rest relaxation rather than fight or flight. So this is not woo woo. It works for some people. It's fact.
There's a wonderful movie called The Power of the Heart.
Oh.
And in the movie, the scientists at HeartMath, who I'm certified with as a coach, by the way, and I got certified with them back in 2001, right after 9/11, the weekend after 9/11, actually. And it was nuts. And this, in the movie, they show folks that are wired for sound. They have the little eye, the nodes all over their heads and their brains and all that other good stuff. And they're sitting in front of a computer. And they have a blank screen and then followed by either a positive or a negative picture. Blank screen followed by positive or negative picture. Blank screen, positive or negative picture. This kind of thing. And the scientists were blown away because what they found is that as you were sitting in front of a black screen, not seeing anything, the heart was able to determine 5 to 6 seconds before the next picture whether it was positive or negative.
Wow.
And what they have learned is that the heart sends messages to the brain, and then the brain sends it to the rest of the body. That's how intuition works.
Huh.
So the heart is such a huge, powerful tool that is, frankly, meant to be taken very, very seriously. And in my perspective, it's the seat of the soul. It really is. It's the seat of the soul. And they have found that the heart sends more messages to the brain than the brain does to the heart. And the heart sends many of the same hormones that to the brain as the brain sends to the heart. So it's this it's this journey of the heart senses these things, and that's why intuitively things come to us and flashing, that quick. It goes right up to the brain and just goes right through the body, whether it's your clairvoyant, your clairaudient, your claircognizant, or whether you're clairsentient, whatever it is. And it just happens, boom, 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 boom. And it's really cool to watch that experiment.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's so cool. And I imagine that this would be a practice that's helpful. I know it's called quick shift,
Mhm.
but I imagine it would be helpful to practice this on a regular basis so that you can access it more easily when you do need to shift.
I use this tool morning, noon, and night. I
Awesome.
use it constantly. From the moment I wake up, I lay there doing quick shift. Uh, I teach leaders how to use it for decision making. We actually create mind maps using the quick shift. We use both sides of the brain. I have a toolkit called the Discovery Process Toolkit, where there's a challenge, and I have the team go ahead and create a mind map and write all their thoughts about the challenge in that mind map. And then we do a quick shift. It's a little bit longer than what I have here, but we do a quick shift, a deep quick shift, and then they go into another mind map, focusing on the same question. And it's amazing the different things that come up, and they just sit there, just they're shocked, surprised at the differences, because what happens is the emotional side of the problem comes up, and then we create a third mind map that integrates all of it, and it's just fascinating how the project evolves from there, using all of the tools that these fantastic people have on the team, all of their talents, all of their insights. It's a very, very powerful technique.
That sounds amazing.
It is amazing. It's
And
really cool.
I'm sure people that go through it are probably shocked of what comes up when they kind of drop into a place of, like you said, the heart, rather
Mhm.
than I need to solve it, I need to fix it, I need a solution right now.
Right. And I use it for people who are having issues with relationships in business, in communication. So we've used it for relationships. We've used it for searching for careers. We've used it for the team building. We've used it for everything. I use it for my book. Uh, Actually, the very first time I ever used my map was for my very first book in 1998. And it was a book about telephone skills. 1-800-COURTESY, connecting with a winning telephone image. And the mind map helped me really see what was going on, because it works on both sides of the brain.
Huh. How would a mind map look for the topic of self-worth and having a feeling of self-worth?
That would be different for every person, okay? Because what you would do is put a circle in the middle of the piece of paper and write self-worth. And then you put out lines from the mind maps. It looks like a sunburst.
Okay.
The one at 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and then you fill lines in between. And you write from your practical perspective, what does self-worth mean to you? What is it? And you just start writing. What are all the words that pop up? And then to get into the emotional side of self-worth, we do the quick shift, okay, and get out of our heads and get into our hearts. And then you start writing what comes to you. I ask the same question. Now let's talk about self-worth from the heart, and just write whatever comes. And it's different for every single person. So you can't say it's the same for everybody. It's different from every single person. And then when you look at both mind maps, it gives you so much information on, wow, now I know why I'm where I'm at, or what does self-worth mean to me. And oftentimes self-worth, especially um, if it comes from a parental issue, there's a lack of self-worth and it stems from parents, it'll pop up on the mind map. And the top one, the practical and logical one, pleasing parents.
Hmm.
I often find a lack of self-worth with people who go into careers to please their parents,
Ha.
not themselves. It's a big one.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And that's a great, additional practice for people listening too, to just kind of play around with one picture,
Mm-hmm.
connect to your heart,
Mm-hmm.
quick shift, next picture.
And it is described in my book, The Enchanted Boardroom.
Awesome.
Yes. So if they pick that up, all the tools, all of that is in there. And once they pick up the book, they can go to the link where they can download the tools afterwards.
Amazing. And that is for specifically people in a leadership position or people that are wanting more leadership in all areas of their life?
People who are wanting more leadership in all areas of their life. And in the book, I also talk about magnetic business attraction, but it's law of attraction. It just happens to have a spin on business. And my upcoming book, Beyond Intuition, Keys to Unlock Prosperity Through Wisdom, is going to have many of the same tools that are in here, but it's more for the general public, not just for leaders in business. Because even though the Enchanted Boardroom can be used by anyone, not just leaders, I'm finding that people who are not in leadership roles, they don't think it's a book for them. So this next book is going to get it more into heart-centered information on helping us gain more self-worth, helping us create more prosperity in all 5 pillars of life, and help us get to where it is we really want to be.
I love it. I love it. I can't wait. That's going to be amazing. Very valuable.
I'm looking forward to handing the manuscript to the publisher too.
Getting it done.
Yes, getting it done.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much for your time and sharing some of your wisdom with us. How can people find you? What is your social media? What is your website?
Thank you for asking. My website is www.intuitiveleadership.com. They can find me on Facebook at Intuitive Leader. I'm at Terry Wildemann, at Terry Wildemann on Twitter, and at Leader Intuition on Twitter also. And again, Terry Wildemann, and that's TerryWildemann on LinkedIn.
Yes, 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 yes. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much. And I will make a link to your free gift. Do you want to share a little bit more about the free gift? I know we've touched upon it.
The free gift, again, is a sheet that has all 4 steps in it that will guide you through it. You see that there's a brain and a heart here. And I would print it out. And I've had people literally laminate it and carry it with them everywhere they go. I suggest that you print out several copies of it and put it on your mirror in the morning. Put one in the car, put one in the refrigerator, put one in your purse, put it everywhere and use it everywhere. This is great when you're sitting in traffic and you're losing it. You know? It's great. It really is. It's got me.
I was going to say, I can't relate here in Los Angeles, sitting in traffic. Well, I don't know what you mean.
Yes, well, yes. I will be there in a few weeks, so I will be participating in the traffic jams, I'm sure.
We'll keep shifting. Keep shifting. Awesome. Well, thank you so much again. And thank you everyone for tuning in. I hope you got some great tools that you can start to use in your life from this conversation. Thank you so much, Terry.
Thank you. Take care. And thank you for inviting me to the show.
Of course. Thank you. Bye, everyone.